He walked into the courtroom like it was a playground. An 11-year-old, restless, impatient, and glued to his phone. "Can we go? This is boring." His mother, standing beside him, gently placed a hand on his shoulder, silently pleading for respect, but he shrugged her off, scrolled again, not realizing he was about to receive a lesson that millions of adults could still stand to learn. Judge Frank Caprio looked up from the docket, calm, steady, unhurried. "Young man," he said softly, "I'm speaking to your mother." The boy barely looked up. Before you see what happened next and how one quiet moment turned into a lifelong reminder about respect, tell us where you're watching from and subscribe to Case Closed, where every real story honors the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio, the man who taught America that justice isn't just about rules, it's about raising better people. 2:30 p.m., Providence Municipal Court. The clerk calls the next case. Case 2025-PK1184. City of Providence versus Lisa Johnson. Charges: 3 unpaid parking citations and expired registration. Lisa Johnson steps forward, nervous, respectful, clutching a folder of papers. Her son follows, hands in his hoodie, eyes glued to the screen. What happens next will remind every parent watching that discipline isn't cruelty, it's care. Because in Judge Caprio's courtroom, lessons aren't just taught, they're remembered. 32 years old, tired eyes, work scrubs visible under her jacket. She carried a folder with receipts and notices. Her son, Jaden, followed. 11 years old, new sneakers, designer hoodie, phone in hand. Ms. Bell read the charges. Citation 1, Westminster Street, October 3rd. Citation 2, Downtown Providence, October 9th. Citation 3, Hope Street, October 17th. Total fines, $450. Vehicle registration expired 90 days. Additional penalty, $120.
Caprio looked at Lisa Johnson. "Miss Johnson, how do you plead?" "Guilty, Your Honor. I know the registration is late. I've been trying to—" Jaden cut in. "Dad would have just paid it." The courtroom went still. Judge Caprio's gaze shifted to the boy. "Excuse me?" Jaden didn't look up from his phone. "I said my dad would have paid it already. He doesn't let stuff like this pile up." Disrespect entered the record before the fines did. Judge Caprio set his pen down. "Young man, what's your name?" "Jaden." "Jaden, I'm speaking to your mother. You'll have a chance to speak when I ask you to." "Whatever." Lisa Johnson's voice was strained. "Jaden, please." Judge Caprio returned his attention to her. "Ms. Johnson, tell me what happened." She took a breath. "Your Honor, I work as a CNA at Providence General. Double shifts most weeks. My car failed inspection in July. The repair estimate was $800. I had to choose between fixing it and keeping up with the registration. I chose wrong." "You chose to keep working." "Yes, sir. I need the car to get to the hospital. The bus doesn't run early enough for my shift." "And the parking tickets?" "I parked on the street near the hospital. I didn't know those spots were metered after 6 p.m. I thought night parking was free." Jaden muttered, "Because she never reads signs." The gallery stirred. Judge Caprio's voice dropped. "Jaden, you will not speak to your mother that way in this courtroom. Do you understand?" Jaden looked up briefly. "I'm just saying what's true. You're being disrespectful. That stops now." Jaden went back to his phone. Judge Caprio made a note. Then he looked at Lisa Johnson again. "Ms. Johnson, is Jaden's father involved?" Lisa's voice tightened. "Not
Financially, Your Honor. He's 6 months behind on child support, $4,800. Does he have visitation?" "Every other weekend when he shows up." Judge Caprio leaned forward. "And when he shows up, what does he tell Jaden about you?" Lisa hesitated. "Your Honor, I don't want to—" Jaden spoke up. "He says Mom only comes to court because she likes drama. He says she could afford stuff if she managed money better." Someone at home was parenting with cash, not character. Judge Caprio looked at Jaden. "And you believe him?" "He's not wrong. Mom's always broke. Dad buys me stuff. New shoes, this phone, my PlayStation. He takes care of me. Does he pay your mother child support? He says he doesn't have to. He says Mom can't make him. Judge Caprio wrote something down. His face was calm. His pen moved slowly. Then Jaden's phone buzzed loud. The ringtone echoed through the courtroom. Jaden looked at the screen. That's Dad. I gotta take this. Judge Caprio's voice was sharp. You will not answer that phone. Jaden swiped to answer. Yeah, Dad, we're in court. Mom's acting like she can't afford tickets again. Lisa Johnson reached for the phone. Jaden, hang up! Judge Caprio's voice cut through. End that call and hand the phone to Officer Rodriguez. Jaden pulled the phone away from his mother. You can't take my phone. My dad's going to sue you. He said judges can't take private property. Officer Rodriguez, collect the device. Bailiff Rodriguez stepped forward. Jaden held the phone behind his back. Jaden, Lisa Johnson whispered, please don't do this. Dad said I don't have to listen to... Rodriguez reached out. Jaden jerked away. Rodriguez didn't grab, didn't force, just stood there, waiting. Judge Caprio's voice was quiet, dangerously quiet. Jaden?
Have two choices. You can hand Officer Rodriguez the phone, or you can be removed from this courtroom and your mother can proceed without you. Which one do you prefer? Jaden looked at his mother, at the bailiff, at the judge. Then he handed over the phone. Rodriguez took it, powered it off, placed it on the clerk's table. Judge Caprio looked at Jaden, then at the courtroom, then back at Jaden. 5 seconds. 7 10 12. That was how long it took for an 11-year-old to realize this was not his father's weekend. Judge Caprio folded his hands. Jaden, sit in the gallery. Do not speak unless I ask you a question. Do you understand? Jaden's voice was small. Yes. Yes, what? Yes, Your Honor. Go. Jaden walked to the back row, sat down, stared at his hands. Judge Caprio turned to Lisa Johnson. Miss Johnson, I apologize. You came here to address citations, not to be humiliated by your child. Lisa wiped her eyes. Your Honor, he's been like this since his father started. I know, and we'll address it. But first, let's talk about you. He opened the file, looked at the dates, the amounts, the notes from the ticketing officer. Officer Kelly is here. Officer, please approach. A uniformed officer stepped forward, mid-40s, calm demeanor. Officer Kelly, you issued all 3 citations to Ms. Johnson's vehicle. Do you recall the circumstances? Yes, Your Honor. The vehicle was parked legally each time. No fire hydrants, no crosswalks, but the meters had expired. The first 2 were downtown near the hospital. The third was on Hope Street near a pharmacy. Did you observe the driver? No, sir. I only saw the vehicle. Did the vehicle appear abandoned or neglected? No, Your Honor. It was clean. Current inspection.
Sticker? Well, current at the time. Nothing suggested it was abandoned. So this was a working mother parking near her job and forgetting to feed a meter? It appears so, yes. Judge Caprio nodded. Thank you, officer. He turned back to Lisa Johnson. Miss Johnson, you came to court. You didn't ignore these tickets. You didn't make excuses. You told the truth. That matters. Thank you, Your Honor. Here's what I'm going to do. Your total fines are $570. I'm reducing that to $50. You'll have 90 days to pay. Lisa's voice broke. Your Honor, I will not punish a working mother for choosing rent over registration. You keep people alive at that hospital. The least this city can do is give you room to breathe. Thank you. Thank you so much. But, Judge Caprio said, I will address your son. The courtroom tensed. Judge Caprio looked at the back row. Jaden, stand up and come here. Jaden stood, walked slowly to the podium, stood next to his mother. Judge Caprio leaned forward. Jaden, do you know why you're in this courtroom today? Because Mom got tickets? No, you're here because your mother is trying to survive, and you just made it harder. Jaden looked down. You are 11 years old when it's time to obey, but 21 when it's time to insult. It can't be both. Silence. Your father is 6 months behind on child support. $4,800. That's money your mother needs to pay for food, rent, and the car that gets her to work. But your father is buying you sneakers, phones, and game consoles. Do you know what that's called? No, Your Honor. Performance. Your father is performing, your mother is working, and you can't tell the difference. Jaden's lip trembled. Your mother is the one
who feeds you every day, who drives you to school, who works double shift so you have a roof over your head, and you just told this entire courtroom she's broke, like it's her fault, like she's failing you. I didn't mean. You did mean it, because someone taught you to think that way, and that stops today. Courtrooms repair what living rooms ignore. Judge Caprio pulled out a form. Jaden Johnson, you are hereby ordered to complete 30 hours of community service at the Providence Senior Day Center. You will report every Saturday at 9 a.m. and work until noon. That's 10 weeks. You will sign in, sign out, and submit a completion log to this court. Jaden's eyes went wide. You can't do that! I have basketball! Then you'll learn to respect the person who pays for your basketball. But this is not punishment for poverty, Jaden. This is correction for disrespect. You treated your mother like she was worthless in front of strangers. Now you'll spend 10 weeks serving people who can't serve themselves. Maybe you'll learn what sacrifice looks like. Lisa Johnson spoke quietly. Your Honor, he's only 11. Miss Johnson, with respect, that's the problem. At 11, he's already learned to disrespect the woman who raised him. If we don't correct it now, at 21 he'll be exactly like his father, and I won't let that happen. He looked at Jaden. Stand next to your mother. Look at her. Jaden turned, looked at his mother. Her eyes were red, her hands were shaking. Say what you did, Judge Caprio said. Jaden's voice was barely audible. I said she was broke. Louder. I said she was broke. I said Dad was better. I answered the phone. I embarrassed her. Now say what's true. Jaden's voice cracked. She's the one paying. She's tired. I made it worse. Lisa Johnson started crying. Judge Caprio nodded toward her. You can hug her. Jaden wrapped his arms around his mother. She held him tight. The courtroom was silent. If you believe kids should learn respect early, not at 25, subscribe to Case Closed so more families see this. Judge Caprio waited. Let them have the moment. Then he spoke again. Miss Johnson, you can sit. Jaden, stay standing. Lisa sat. Jaden stood at the podium alone. Judge Caprio looked at the file, then at the back of the courtroom, as if speaking to someone who wasn't there. This next part is for the record. To the non-custodial parent listening to this case secondhand. You are 6 months behind on child support, but you are over-present in this child's attitude. You've taught him that money equals love, that gifts equal parenting, that the woman who sacrifices daily is somehow lesser than the man who shows up twice a month with a shopping bag. He paused. Money without morals creates exactly what we saw today. A boy who thinks disrespect is acceptable as long as someone buys him sneakers. That stops now, because influence is custody too. And your influence just cost your son 10 Saturdays. The gallery murmured in agreement. Judge Caprio turned back to Jaden. Jaden, you'll start this Saturday, 9 a.m., Providence Senior Day Center on Cranston Street. Your mother will drive you. You'll help serve meals, assist residents, and clean up. The staff will supervise you. If you miss a session without a valid excuse, you'll come back here and I'll extend the hours. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Do you have any questions? No, Your Honor. Then we're done. Officer Rodriguez, return
his phone. Rodriguez handed the phone to Lisa Johnson, not to Jaden. Judge Caprio looked at Lisa. Miss Johnson, his phone is your property now. He earns it back when he earns your trust. Lisa nodded, tucked the phone in her purse. Judge Caprio picked up his gavel. This court is adjourned. Miss Johnson, see the clerk about your payment plan. Jaden, I'll see you in 10 weeks. The gavel came down. 6 weeks later, the Providence Senior Day Center submitted attendance logs to the court. Week 1, Jaden arrived on time, helped set up breakfast, quiet but cooperative. Week 2, helped Mr. Leone with his walker, stayed an extra 15 minutes to finish cleanup. Week 3, asked if he could come during school break to make up hours he wanted to get ahead on. Week 4, Ms. Rivera taught him to play chess. He's been teaching other kids in the after-school program. Week 5, Jaden asked if we had volunteer shifts in the summer. Says he likes helping. Week 6, compliance good, attitude transformed. Ms. Bell entered a note in the court file. Community service proceeding as ordered. Positive reports from site supervisor. Judge Caprio read it, smiled, made a note to check in at the 10-week mark. 10 weeks later, Lisa Johnson and Jaden Johnson returned to Providence Municipal Court. Miss Bell called the case. Follow-up review. 2025 PK 1184 Johnson matter. Jaden walked to the podium with his mother. No phone in hand, no talking over her. He waited for permission to speak. Judge Caprio looked at him. Jaden, you completed your hours. Yes, Your Honor. What did you learn? Jaden took a breath. I learned that Mom's not the broke one. She's the one paying. Dad's gifts don't pay fines. They don't pay rent.
Don't pay for anything real. What else? I learned that the people at the senior center, they don't care what kind of shoes you're wearing. They care if you show up, if you help, if you're kind. And your mother. She's been showing up my whole life, and I treated her like she wasn't enough. But she's more than enough. She's everything. Judge Caprio nodded. Ms. Johnson, has his behavior improved at home? Lisa smiled. Yes, Your Honor. He's been different. He helps with his little sister. He does his homework without being asked. He doesn't mention his father's gifts anymore. Jaden, what happens the next time your father buys you something and talks badly about your mother? I'll thank him for the gift, then I'll tell him she's the one who makes sure I have what I need, not just what I want. Judge Caprio leaned back. Good answer. He stamped the file. Community service obligation fulfilled. Jaden Johnson, you are released from court supervision. Your mother has my permission to return your phone, if she believes you've earned it. Thank you, Your Honor. One more thing, Jaden. Yes, sir? The senior center called me. They asked if you'd be interested in volunteering this summer. Paid position, 15 hours a week. Are you interested? Jaden looked at his mother. She nodded. Yes, Your Honor. I'd like that. Then it's yours, Miss Johnson. The center will contact you with details. Thank you, Your Honor. Judge Caprio looked at them both. You came in here broken. You're leaving whole. That's what this courtroom is for. Should judges be allowed to correct kids this directly? Yes or no? Tell us below. The gavel came down. That afternoon, Judge Caprio wrote a note in his journal. An 11-year-old insulted his mother in
Open court.
I gave him 10 Saturdays to learn what she's worth. He came back a different child. Beneath it, he added, respect isn't age-restricted. Neither is accountability. Miss Bell knocked on his door. Your Honor, the mother left you something. She handed him an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. Your Honor, thank you for seeing what I couldn't. Jaden is a different kid. I'm a different mom. We're learning together. Lisa Johnson. Attached was a photo. Jaden and Lisa at the senior center, both smiling, both wearing volunteer badges. Judge Caprio pinned it to his bulletin board next to photos of other families he'd helped repair, because courtrooms aren't just for punishment, they're for reconstruction. He came in bigger than his mother. He left smaller than her sacrifices. Respect costs nothing, but it pays every bill a parent can't. 2 months later, Jaden Johnson walked into the senior center on a Tuesday afternoon. Not for service, just to visit. Mr. Leone saw him, waved him over. Jaden, you come to beat me at chess again? Maybe, if you're ready to lose. They sat, set up the board, played. Halfway through the game, Mr. Leone asked, You still got that fancy phone your dad bought you? Yeah, but I only use it when my mom says I can. Smart kid. Not really. I had to learn the hard way. Mr. Leone moved his knight. That's the only way most of us learn. Jaden moved his bishop. Mr. Leone, can I ask you something? Sure. When you were a kid, did you ever disrespect your mom? Mr. Leone smiled. Once, my father heard me. He made me apologize in front of the whole neighborhood. I was so embarrassed I cried. Did you ever do it again? Never. Because
I learned that respect isn't optional. It's required, especially for the people who love you most. Jaden nodded, moved his rook. Checkmate, Mr. Leon said. Jaden laughed. How do you always win? Because I've been losing longer than you've been alive. You learn more from losses than wins, kid. Yeah, I'm starting to figure that out. Lisa Johnson picked Jaden up at 4 p.m. He climbed into the car. No complaints, no attitude. How was your visit? Good. Mr. Leon beat me again? Maybe next time. Maybe. They drove in silence for a while. The kind of silence that isn't empty, but full of everything that didn't need words. Then Jaden spoke. Mom? Yeah? I'm sorry. For what I said in court. For how I acted. Lisa glanced over, her eyes soft but steady. You already apologized, honey. I know, he said quietly. But I don't think I said it enough. She pulled over, turned to face him fully. Jaden, you didn't just say sorry. You proved it. And that's what matters more than words. He blinked, unsure how to respond. You really think so? She smiled. I know so. They hugged, the kind that ends a chapter and begins a better one. A few moments later, she handed him his phone. You earned it back. Jaden looked at it for a long second, then placed it on the dashboard. Can I keep it in my backpack? I don't really need it right now. Lisa smiled again, that quiet kind of proud only a parent knows. You sure? Yeah, he said, looking out the window. I'm good. They drove in home under the late afternoon sun. A mother and son who didn't just leave a courtroom, they left it changed.
Their photo stayed pinned on the board, a reminder that respect isn't learned in a single hearing, and redemption doesn't happen in speeches. It happens in choices. Because for Judge Caprio, every case was never just about fines or laws. It was about people. About the small second chances that rebuild lives quietly, one Saturday, one lesson, one act of humility at a time. Judge Frank Caprio's legacy lives on, not in verdicts or viral moments, but in hearts, like Jaden's, that learned what justice truly means. Subscribe to Case Closed, where we keep that legacy alive. One story, one life lesson, and one act of compassion at a time.